here we cannot wear any signs of religion. In a public space, there's no religion at all. I get it, but this means that you have to hide and suffocate.
Welcome to What Came After. I'm your host, Manya Marcus. On What Came After, we'll take a look at the many ways that people's lives changed on and after the brutal massacre in Israel on October 7th, 2023. We'll be speaking with people in Israel and around the world about how the devastating attack by Hamas has shifted, shaped, and changed them. To learn more about our podcast, please visit us at whatcameafter.com. Hi, Anna. It's so nice to meet you. I'm glad that you were able to meet with me on such short notice, and I would love it if you could just introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what you're up to, and how you got here to Paris.
Thank you so much. So I'm Anna Veronese. I was born in Venice, in Italy, and I was raised there. I then studied in Israel for 2 years at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, and I lived there with my husband. And then we moved back to Europe, and we chose France. He's French, so we chose Paris because it was a big city with good opportunities for job, and it was not that far away from my home and from his home, which at the moment was Strasbourg. He is born and he was raised in Strasbourg. So now I work part-time for a French Bet Midrash, which is called Tashma, which is in Israel, that offer limud for French-speaking people, both in Jerusalem and in Tel Aviv. And we do produce a lot of digital content. We have a website, we have podcasts, articles that we write, and we have an intensive program in the summer. It's a small Bet Midrash. It's very cool.
For those of us who don't know,
yes.
What is a Beit Midrash?
Bet Midrash is a place of study where we gather together and we study the text of Jewish tradition. The Bet Midrash was founded 6 or 7 years ago. The founders saw the necessity to have something for French-speaking people, Olim Chadashim from France,
So
which
these
is a
are
big aliyah.
new immigrants in Israel
Yes.
from France.
Yes. There are many immigrants that come to Israel from France. France is the first country outside Israel and the United States in terms of number of Jews. So, of course, the numbers of French immigrants is going up constantly in Israel.
And I think that there has been a spike in immigrants, particularly since October 7th.
Yes, that's for sure. And I have personal knowledge of it. So I have 3 children. The 3 of them are in one of the 3 biggest Jewish schools in Paris, called Lucien de Hirsch. And since October 7th, there have been families that made Aliyah. I think it was like already in their mind, of course, but October 7th gave them the last push.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the husband, the wife, like the couple, and many children going all together to live in Israel. So it's a big move for them. I'm a student in Yeshivat Maharat, which is a yeshiva in Riverdale, New York, which gives Orthodox ordination to women. So I'm studying to become a rabbi, and I'm in the first year.
And specifically, really, for those who don't understand this, you are studying to be an Orthodox rabbi.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
It strikes me that there aren't a lot of female clergy who would consider themselves Orthodox, not just in France, but maybe throughout Western Europe. Is that right?
Yes, it's something that it's quite new.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the first French-speaking Orthodox rabbi was ordained in Israel in 2016, but she lives there. She's the founder of the Bet Midrash I was speaking to you before. But it's really not quite yet entered in the mindset of the Western communities, like France, Italy. I'm from Italy, so it's the same there. There are no Orthodox rabbis, female. Though there are some female conservative and reform and liberal rabbis.
But this is a whole different approach.
Yes.
Your attendance at Maharat is largely virtual. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly.
So you're not commuting to Riverdale?
No.
So that would be fascinating.
Yes. This is one of the greatest things that Maharat does, is that It gives the opportunity to women all around the world to meet and study together through Zoom. Twice a year we meet in person. But all the courses I'm taking are virtual on the virtual platform, and it's really cool to have this possibility. I think it is the only Orthodox institution ordaining women that offers that.
Something interesting here is that they have students who are learning in the Beit Midrash in New York.
Yes.
So you are really, this is rigorous. It's not like you can listen to a lecture whenever you want. For the most part, you have to be with the students in a very real way. Okay, so let's talk about being in France as a European but not originally French Jew on October 7th. I think my first question is, what was that day like for you? And when did you find out? Since you're Orthodox, your phone was not organically on. When did you find out, and how did you digest it originally?
I think I never digested it. We found out the same day, actually. We were in the synagogue because it was still a Chag here in France, and we had one more day of Chag.
Yeah, so again, for people who don't know,
of course,
there's a holiday named Sukkot that ends with, in the diaspora, it's Shemini Atzeret and then Simchat Torah. But in Israel, those two dates are all lobbed into one.
Yes, so it happened on Simchat Torah in Israel, but for us, we had one more day of festivities, so we couldn't watch information. But there was somebody who came to the synagogue who told us something happened, something horrible happened, without giving many details. So we had a horrible, of course, Simchat Torah, because we were like wondering what really happened.
And Simchat Torah literally means joy.
The joy of the Torah, yes.
So it was a rather difficult day to be joyful.
But we were also a kind of ignorant at the moment because we didn't really know the extent. So we still danced with the Torah. I mean, we were not still in this horror. We were like just before knowing but not knowing. So we didn't know the extent of what happened. And so it was very strange retrospectively. And then when we opened our telephones and TVs, we saw. And I immediately contact my friends and family in Israel, particularly the people I work with. And the rabbi I work with told me, do not watch anything. Just read the articles, but do not watch the images. I followed her advice the first 2 or 3 days, and then I couldn't anymore. I was I don't know, I guess curiosity. She was right. Personally, I was probably like everybody in shock, complete and utter shock, and concerned for, I have family there, the security and life of people I know and love. Israel is part of me, and I regularly go there. I have family there, I have connections there. So it's been very hard. It was very hard, and it's still very hard. And for me, as a mother, it was very hard to know what to say to my children. I can talk to you a bit about this Jewish school because I think it's interesting to give an idea of course, it's not representative of all French Judaism, but it is a very big school. We have all the, from kindergarten till the last grade of high school. So it's quite a big establishment. It's the oldest one. It's the oldest Jewish school that was founded in France. Most of the students and so the families are very Zionists and in general quite supportive of everything Israel does. The school immediately started to talk about what happened. And there was a bit of concern because there were kids exposed to television that started to tell. I didn't want that for my kids, to watch and to see. So it was complicated. I know that some of the teachers spoke with the kids, but it was not something that came from the direction of the school. They didn't have a psychologist came in, which I think it was not such a good idea because I think that needed to be a space for kids to speak about what was happening, even if we are preserved, thanks God, compared to all the people who are living in Israel. But still, most of the people have family there. the French community is very, very connected to Israel. So I'm still in this debate with my husband and myself what to say to my kids. My oldest, of course, he knows he's 13, but I have a young kid who's 6. And I can tell you what happened today, for example. It's very interesting. Yesterday evening, we received a message, not official, like through WhatsApp, from one of the teachers who's responsible for the pedagogy of the school, telling to everybody that all the kids should wear orange to raise awareness for the Bibas family. And I thought it was not such a good idea.
And the Bibas family are the family of 4 who were taken from Kibbutz Nir Oz. The children, one of them was not yet 1. Right?
Yes, it was 10 months.
And
The other was 3 or 4, yes.
And there are a lot of vivid images of the mother just looking terrified and trying to hold on to her children.
I didn't send my children with orange things because I didn't want to put on them this anguish and stress and hope, which is very thin. But the school is very vocal. For example, for Yom Ha'atzmaut, they also did a stage kind of celebration, even if it was not in full this year, but with the name of the hostages and the lighted candles. So they are very supportive of the Israeli army. And I cannot speak for everybody, but I can say the general mood in the parents of the school is like, we support Israel. We want the war to finish and all the hostages to come back.
So one thing that I'm thinking as I'm listening to you talk is that the way that the war hit you, the way that the massacre hit you, was first as a mother, right? That's really the part of your identity that this is drawing on and pressuring the most.
Yes.
Yes. Some people the different hats that people wear, some of them feel more pressured, more anguished than others. The reason that I'm asking you this, I have 2 thoughts. One is that we interviewed a woman in Israel, and I asked her, would you have raised your children differently if you knew that something like this was going to happen in their lifetime? And I want to say one more thing, which is that you were talking about feeling more preserved, more protected here. A lot of the opinion from the North American diaspora is that French Jewry, but especially French Jewry who are visible, you are wearing a head covering, is not so well protected. So I think my question to you is, do you think that you would raise your children differently if you felt that there was a strong chance maybe that they would be exposed to this kind of violence in their lifetime, either here or there? And do you feel protected and safe here?
That's a big question. My husband was saying the other day, I'm French till the moment that somebody will say that I'm not French anymore. Meaning that even if he does feel very French, he knows that the wind can change. I have a different experience. I am here as a migrant because I was not born here. So I actually felt safe here as a person and as a Jew until the terrorist attacks of 2015. And then something shifted.
For those of us who don't remember, would you mind reminding us, there were several terrorist attacks in 2015?
Yes. Most shocking ones for us was the attack to Charlie Hebdo, which is a French satirical magazine. And some days later, there was an attack in a Jewish store.
Kosher
supermarket just before Shabbat. And 4 people were killed. I don't know why this one shifted for me, because we already had terrorist attacks in 2012 in Toulouse in a Jewish school. Maybe because it happened in Paris, I don't know. There was a very big march just some days after. Like 1 million people came into the streets, and I was there too with my small baby. And I felt that I was not safe anymore here. I know like how France is looked from outside, from America and also from other countries. But I have to say that my daily life, I don't feel particularly threatened. I don't know if you saw, but just outside my house, there's a very big mosque. I live in a very interesting neighborhood, which was once a mixed Jewish Muslim neighborhood, because it was a a neighborhood of migrants that were poor that came from North Africa.
I just want to stop and say,
Yes.
both the Muslims and the Jews at that time were coming from North Africa.
Yes.
People don't understand when you say to somebody, go back to Poland, that is not necessarily where they're from. You were saying that your husband's family was born in...
My husband's family is half from Morocco, half from Algeria. So they were there till the 60s. They came away with the independence.
So the people who were living here were different religions, but actually coming largely from the same part of the world.
Yes, yes, and speaking the same language, actually.
Arabic.
Yes.
The Jews were speaking Arabic.
Yes, my mother-in-law, her spoken language at home was Arabic. Then they moved to Israel in 1962, so she was little, she was 9, I think, at the time. So then she started speaking Hebrew, and she spoke Hebrew, but her older sisters, they spoke Arabic to each other, yes. And they were of Arabic culture. But to answer to your question, I do not see the future of my children here. And it is very sad because I strongly believe in a Jewish diaspora. I think that we have something to say and to give to the world, not only in Israel. And it is vital that we have a Jewish presence in the diaspora. And so it pains me to think that my children, again, I don't feel their future here in a serene way, you know? I don't know how they can thrive and live a fully Jewish committed life in France.
That sounds like something your husband might disagree with.
No, actually, I think he agrees in an extent. I mean, he's more attached to France and to French culture and to French values, which are like my values as well, of course. Like Italy and France are very close countries in many ways. It's complicated. It's always been complicated, but I don't know, we've lost many friends since October 7th. We have distanced ourselves, I would say, from friends who said things that we couldn't accept anymore, because I can be critical of Israel and the way Israel conducted the war, the decisions that were taken from the government. But people that deny what happened during October 7th, I drew the line.
That's the boundary.
Yes. And it has happened not quite often with our friends, but some of them.
And who are these people? Are they other Jews?
No,
or?
they're not Jews. They're
Okay.
not Jews. We live in mainly non-Jewish society, even if nowadays most of our friends are Jews, but because we have kids together in the schools, you know. But we still have colleagues and friends who are not Jews.
And they actually said things to you about not thinking that October 7th was as bad as we say? Or?
A little bit minimizing and being very vocal and critical about Israel. I don't think anybody of them used the term genocide, but it was not that far. The President Macron dissolved the assembly and held new elections. And since the far right was very strong, the left made a kind of alliance with far left. And far left is very anti-Zionist and very vocal about it. Where's the line between anti-Zionism and antisemitism? So basically people like my husband, he didn't know for whom to vote, because you cannot vote for the far right with all the past that we carry. I mean, we just commemorated the liberation of Auschwitz, but we cannot vote for the far. It's like, what do we do?
There is politically, I think, across the world right now, this sense that we have nowhere to go. Jews. I don't know if you know Yossi Klein Halevi. He's a thinker in Israel and he's a writer. And I heard him speak and he said it was the cruelest election for American Jews because they had to choose between the January 6th mob of Donald Trump and the globalize the Intifada mob of the far left. And where can we go?
Exactly. I have a friend of us who's very funny, who made a benchmarking, and he says, okay, I think the best shot for us is Uganda, which was one of the countries, I think, that Herzl
was looking at Uganda and Alaska.
And I was, what are you... Why?
I cannot tell. I don't know if you'll believe me, but I said that several weeks into the war. I said, Uganda is looking really good.
Yeah. Okay. So you agree with him?
I guess I'm with him on that.
Yes.
It sounds like your life has been different in some ways since October 7th. Can you elaborate on that? You've lost friends. What else?
I work with Israel. So almost every day I have meetings with people living in Israel. It happens that the rabbi I work with was in the community of Hersh, Polin, Zichrono Livracha, and the soldier, I'm sorry, I lost the name, that was killed recently. I feel very concerned, and I speak often with my sister-in-laws because I feel very connected, and I follow the news, not only through the media, but through people who are living in the country. So in terms of stress, that's really something that it's weighing on us constantly, I think.
Do you think that your children feel that?
The youngest one, no, because I try to preserve them. The oldest one, it's fun in a way because we are not exactly like the other parents, like most of the parents I was telling you about in the school. We can be also critical about Israel politics, etc. So we are nicknamed les gauchistes, the leftists,
yeah.
the leftists. And my son, he said some things at school like, of course, what happened in October 7th is a tragedy, but now Israel is bombing. It's not good that it's bombing. He was met with complete and utter shock by the other kids. So I told him, Aaron, this is not something you can say today. You do not say these kind of things because you cannot just say that. It's very complicated to say anything about the situation, not living there, not being in the country. We can have our opinions, we can feel things, but do not enter in these discussions because it's not good for you.
So this gets to something interesting also about parenting, right? I mean, you said that you don't necessarily see your kid's future in France, but I'm not sure that it sounds like at least Aaron is especially connected to Israel.
You're right.
What is your perspective on whether they feel not included in France or whether they feel really that Israel appeals to them?
For the moment, I don't think that they don't feel included. I think they feel French, but I'm afraid of what they could experience in the future if they choose to be observant Jews. I don't know if Israel appealed to them. They're still very young. My eldest went to Israel many times already, but he doesn't particularly like the country. But the school, I often jokes and says, it's actually the Jewish agency, one of the departments of the Jewish agency, because the teachers infuse in the kids that after the last exam after high school, they will make Aliyah. They actually go to Israel during high school. They make a very big trip. They make a big fuss and they bring people like past students, alumni that now are in Israel. They bring them in to speak about Israel. There's a big Salon de la Aliyah. They encourage students to go there and see what are the possibilities.
Do you feel like any of your kids are very influenced or swayed by the larger anti-Israel culture in France?
No, I don't think so. But I have to say most of their friends are Jews. My kids are a bit different in the sense that I am Italian, so I still have family in Italy. And part of this family is not Jewish. So they know cousins and little cousins that are not Jewish. And each time we go there, and we go there frequently, like at least 4 or 5 times a year, I always meet with them because I want to show them that the world is big. But I don't know if they put them in the category of Italians more than in the category of non-Jewish people, you know what I mean?
Yes. So you are not French and you're not Israeli.
No.
Do you feel Italian?
That's a good question. This is one of the reasons I have not yet become French, because I'm always saying I'm already struggling with my many identities. If I have to add another one, it will be too complicated for me. I'm still very connected to Italian Jewish community, to my community, but I also lived in Rome. I worked for the Jewish community in Rome, so I have strong connections there.
And where were you born?
In Venice.
In Venice. Okay.
In Venice, yes. It's another story because even with these people that feel French, but they're second generation, or even the first generation was really born in France. Italian Jews are there since many, many, many centuries. I did the genealogical research. I traced back my great, I don't even know, to 1790.
Oh, wow.
So he was already in Venice. And I think I could trace back even more.
Wow.
Yes. The first ghetto in the world was in Venice in 1516. So it's been a long time. And it's always been complicated. Italian Jews have a very complicated relationship with Italy, but the link to the soil can be very strong for us. I feel home in Italy, but I also feel home in Israel. It's something visceral. It's like really in my gut. It's part of me.
When you think of the phrase Ein li eretz acheretz, where do you think of? Do you think of Israel? Do you think of Italy? Where that phrase means I have no other country, right?
I don't know if I can think of something, but I always said to my husband that if everything goes wrong and we have to go away, we can always go to Sicily. Why? I was born and raised in Venice, as I told you, but for 5 years, when I was a kid, I lived in Sicily. Sicily is an island south of Italy, a big island. It's such a beautiful place to be. There are no Jews there. I mean, now, last year, there was, because this island was under Spanish rule, so Jews were expulsed from Sicily, like from Spain.
Right, from Spain and Portugal, right?
Exactly. In the same years, a little bit later, like 3 or 4 years later, the expulsion of Spain was 1492, and I think from Sicily was 97, something like that. So there haven't been Jews for centuries there. Now there are some families of that rediscover the Jewish roots, etc. But people do not know what is Judaism there. It reminds me of Israel. This is also why I always felt so much connected to Israel, maybe because I lived part of my life in Sicily, and like the colors, the sun, the sea, the flowers. That's very much, it's the Mediterranean. It's the south of the Mediterranean.
Yes.
So it's similar. And people are very warm, and they're friendly, and they're messy, and everything is messy, and you know. So there's something.
Some connection,
something.
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe my Eretz Acheret would be Sicily, but I'm not sure.
That's really interesting. Were you raised religious?
No, actually. My mom is Jewish, but my father was not Jewish. He converted quite late, meaning at the age of 50. We actually started to go to the synagogue and go to the Talmud Torah when we came back from Sicily, and I was 8, 9. So the first 9 years of my life, I didn't live as a Jew, actually. Yeah,
Things have taken quite a turn.
Yes.
What do you think of the perception in other parts of the diaspora, as well as in a lot of Israel, that France is now an unsafe or perhaps just unhealthy place for Jews to be?
Your question is very interesting because you said two things. You said unsafe and unhealthy, which is not exactly the same thing.
No, they're not the same.
Unsafe, I would say, it depends where you live. I have to say that, sadly, there are some neighborhood in Paris, mainly outside Paris, you know, like the suburbs, which is not possible to go in the street with wearing Jewish signs.
Like a kippah
or
Magen David
and I have
necklace.
to say to you something, I forgot about this, but the only time when somebody told me sale juive, which means dirty Jew, was in France, here in Paris. I've never heard something like that in Italy in all my life.
What was the context?
I was walking in the street. It was Purim. I guess I was wearing a hat. I don't know why this girl recognized me as a Jew. She shouted to me, sale juive.
Wow.
And it's shocking. It's very shocking.
Was this before October 2nd?
Yes. It was way before. There's many to say about the antisemitism of Islam, like coming from Muslim communities.
Yeah, the radical.
Which is a reality. I mean, it
right.
exists.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking about like this neighborhood where we have a majority of population which are migrant from North, also Central Africa, of Muslim religion that are raised in this with many anti-Semitic stereotypes. So there's a lot of education that must be done. Very Republican French don't agree with me, but I think that the Republican model is not a good one.
Tell me what you mean by that.
Here we have the principle of laïcité,
Mm-hmm.
which means that we cannot wear any signs of religion. The religion stays at
In your private space.
private space. And in a public space, there's no religion at all. I get it. But this means that you have to hide and suffocate part of you
In public.
in public, which is not only like the religion, because it's thought like something of all superstition, bigotry, etc. But there are also many beautiful and positive things, and there's also a lot of cultural. The model in the public schools here is that you go to the school, you cannot wear any signs, any religious signs, and you cannot show that you are of another religion. In some of the schools, they have a kind of a menu for kids that is without pig for Muslims, but like it's not everywhere and it's not always. You cannot take days off if you have to go to a religious festivity. You cannot move an exam, which is not my experience in Italy, because Italy, the Italian Jewish communities has what is called a concordato, and comes from the Catholics, actually. The Catholics have an understanding with the Italian state. And so the Jews have too,
Mm-hmm.
which means we are kind of protected, which means that, for example, I have to pass, say, an exam, a public exam, to become a lawyer, example, an official exam, okay? I can ask to move it
In Italy.
in Italy, if it falls on Shabbat or on Rosh Hashanah or whatever. Here, it's impossible to even think about it. So for students, it is very complicated to follow a courses of studies, any study. I have a friend, for example, she's a PhD. She just started the lawyer school. And she said to me, it's a mess because I have mandatory lessons each Shabbat or like twice a month, and I have to be there. She was trying to figure out a solution like or there or virtual, but they have to see me. So she was trying to figure out a way to have the Zoom opened and she will be in the room, but somebody else will log for her. Just crazy.
It's a lot of hoops to jump through.
Yes.
So this, we've heard about this, laïcité, and is very fundamentally French.
Yes.
And something that a lot of people are very proud of as a French ideal. And yet maybe you're speaking to my question about healthiness. How healthy is being here when the expectation is that over any religious obligation is your obligation to the state to not bring your religious obligations into the public sphere.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think it's not healthy for us, but I think this model is not successful because you see a lot of failures in very large Muslim communities where, in theory, the integration should come through school, and it hasn't. I don't know if you heard about it. Like 2 years ago, there was a professor who was killed, Samuel Paty. He was a French professor in one of the difficult area, and a father of one of the students killed him because he thought he was like teaching values that were completely opposite to their values.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tragic story, really, and it shows that possibly people could argue against this, but I think this is not a correct model of integration. Integration must take the culture and the system of values the people come from and recognize them and accept them as a richness, not as a threat.
I think that people would say, post World War II, in this part of the world, in Europe, we have not yet found a good model
Yes.
for integration. But I
Yes.
hear you. What about safety? What about this post-October 7th sense of safety?
As I told you, in my daily life, I don't feel threatened when I walk in the street. But, for example, I'm a feminist, so I go each year to the feminist march, the last Saturday of November, to protest and raise awareness against violence made against women and feminicide. And last year I went and I literally ran away. A group of Jewish women raising awareness to the violence that were made against women on October 7th. They were threatened by the other people in the manifestation. The police had to come in, etc. I arrived later than that, so I didn't see this. But I saw only flags, Palestine flags. Why? I mean, like it's as if this war has invaded every possible space. And I felt unsure to be there. It was very unpleasant. And I didn't go this year. I don't want to put myself again in this situation. Participating in this and having near me people who are saying Israelis are Nazis and Israel genocide and etc. etc. That's very sad.
So it sounds like that was a loss for you.
Yes. I read an article from the executive director of JOFA. She was saying exactly the same thing, that since October 7th, she has lost many allies and many people she fought with because she has a very extensive network of people, not only Jews, and especially the non-Jews that didn't support Israeli women after October 7th. All of a sudden, it was me too, unless you are
You're a Jew.
unless you're an Israeli. So she was it's a very interesting article.
Being excluded from feminist spaces doesn't make you less a feminist, right?
No, it doesn't.
But your community is smaller or gone, I mean.
Yes, it's definitely smaller. So now we tend to work. I am the vice president of Kollel, which is another Bet Midrash, which was founded 4 years ago by Rabbanit Miriam Ackerman and Talifi Toussi, which is a place to give access to women to Jewish study, because women traditionally have been excluded. France is very late compared to America and Israel. We are a feminist organization. For example, now we are organizing a big day to raise awareness for Agunot women who are denied divorce according to Jewish law. So we'd like to work with non-Jewish feminist organization, but it's become very complicated.
I have one last question, which might be interesting for you as a non-native French person. Do you think that it is important for the world that there is a French-speaking Jewish community?
Yes. I'm 100% sure about it. I strongly believe in a Jewish diaspora, and every country has its own specificity. There's been a movement of globalization, and it infused also Judaism. And we are strongly influenced by Judaism that comes from Israel, especially here in France. Many rabbis, French rabbis, actually are trained in Israel. And I think we are losing something because there's a specificity to French Judaism, which is now mainly of Sephardic culture because of but not only, there are still Ashkenazi Jews here with their traditions and their history and their culture. It's very important we continue to cultivate this. Every difference is a richness. It's not every one of us is different, and every one of us has something to say and to give to the other one.
Well, I think this is a good place to end. I really want to thank you for inviting us into your home and for sharing these really important thoughts.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe to What Came After wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us online at whatcameafter.com.
תגידי מה יוצא לך מזה, להיות דורס בלי מתוקים, לדעות ומהלילה איזה חלום יעוף, איזה ניצוץ יאיר משאלות של גוף. אל תפחדי להיות, אל תפחדי להיות שלך, אל תהססי לרצות, אל תהססי לבנות אותך, אותך. גשר של שהות מתנדנד מעל נהר של החלטות גדולות, סוג עיניים, שתי ציפורים יפות, את המראות להיות, אל תפחדי להיות, אל תפחדי להיות שלך, אל תהססי לרצות, אל תהססי לבנות אותך, אותך. להסתכל ולברוח, אולי זה לא זמן מתאים להאמין שגם מזה אפשר לשוב ולפרוח. אוי, אל תפחדי